you've got to get your people out to vote. And especially in those states where we're represented. We're having a tremendous problem in Utah. Now, Utah's a different place, and I don't know if is anybody here from Utah? I mean, I didn't think so. We're having a problem.
Donald Trump, they're acknowledging we're having a problem, that he's struggling in Utah, which has traditionally been a red state. Hillary Clinton is taking advantage of that, reaching out to Mormon voters. In an op-ed in Deseret News, a newspaper owned by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Clinton wrote, "I have been fighting to defend religious freedom for years. As Secretary of State, I made it a cornerstone of our foreign policy to protect the rights of religious minorities around the world." Remember that after Donald Trump called for a temporary ban on Muslims entering the U.S., the Mormon Church actually issued a strong statement on religious freedom. Former Utah Senator Bob Bennett, also a Mormon, was so upset about Trump's proposal that on his deathbed, the former senator said he wanted to apologize to Muslims. And joining me now is Senator Bob Bennett's son, Jim Bennett, who shared that account. Jim, you were a registered Republican, as I understand it, up until 2 weeks ago. Is that right?
That's right. I am now an unaffiliated voter.
Why?
The Republican Party that was near and dear to my heart for most of my adult life bears very little or no resemblance to the party of Trump. And, people had called me a rhino, a Republican in name only, and I decided that I no longer wanted to be a Republican even in name, as long as Donald Trump is heading the ticket.
You told that story so movingly about your father back in May, and by the way, our condolences to your family for his passing. And I knew him when I covered the Senate. Wonderful man. What did he say to you? Why was he so bothered by Trump's proposal on temporarily banning Muslims?
Well, he said this when he was really quite emotional as a result of the stroke that he had just suffered. But my mother pointed out that this was not something that came to him only on his deathbed, that he was walking up to people in airports and apologizing on behalf of Donald Trump for the Republican Party. So this was something that was very near and dear to him, and I think it goes back to his faith. I think one of the reasons Donald Trump is having so much trouble in Utah is that Mormons culturally identify with a history of persecution, with a history of feeling like religious outsiders. And seeing Trump label Muslims as outsiders, I think, is really reprehensible to people of my faith.
What do you hear from your friends, from your neighbors? Maybe when you're at church, maybe when you're outside of church, you live there in Salt Lake City. What do you hear? Does anyone support Donald Trump who you know?
Yeah, I know some people who are supporting Trump, and I think the tribal loyalties to the Republican Party are very strong. I think that Trump is still likely to carry the state, but I think Hillary does have a good shot here. Which is astonishing, considering not only has Utah been the reddest of red states, we haven't voted for a Republican since 1964, but Bill Clinton came in third in the state of Utah in 1992 when he first ran. This is not Clinton country.
Yeah.
So the fact a Democrat hasn't won a statewide race in Utah for about 25 years. So the fact that any Democrat is competitive here is remarkable, but the fact that it's Hillary Clinton demonstrates just how odious most Mormon voters find Donald Trump.
That's interesting. Bill Clinton, by the way, was in Park City, I think, last night, trying to raise money for his wife.
Right, I'd heard that.
I assume you weren't there.
I was not there, no.
Hillary Clinton wrote that op-ed that we mentioned, trying to make an appeal to people of the Mormon faith, and she referred to Mormon leaders. She referred to people like Mitt Romney and former Senator Larry Pressler, who, of course, have said things criticizing Donald Trump. Do you see that as resonating with people out there, or was it viewed as pandering?
I think probably the latter more than the former. I don't think it hurt her much, but I don't think it helped her. She was trying too hard. I read it, and it was just so larded up with references to Mormon leaders and Mormon jargon that you got the sense that somebody had mined Wikipedia that afternoon to find everything Mormon they possibly could. It seemed like the written equivalent of that picture of Donald Trump holding a taco bowl saying, "I love Hispanics."
And so where does that leave you personally? You just told us that you're a registered independent. Now, what are you going to do?
I'm really wrestling with this. I mean, my sisters who are in battleground states have both said, we've got to vote for Hillary to stop Trump. And I'm hoping that I can't get there from here yet. I'm not supporting Hillary, but I'm certainly not supporting Trump the threshold to get on the ballot in Utah is only $500 and 1,000 signatures. So I was toying with the idea of raising some money and getting on the ballot for myself. But I don't think that's going to happen. That's only 3 days away. So.
Will you let us know if that happens, please?
Sure,
that would
absolutely.
be interesting to us.
I will make my announcement on MSNBC.
Please do. Please do. You can do it right now if you'd like.
Well, if somebody wants to put up $500, I'm in.
There we go. Jim Bennett, son of former Republican Senator Bob Bennett. Thank you so much for your time today. Appreciate your perspective.
Thank you.